guys know how I am about workload spikes. If you're not playing, you shouldn't play. And James says, Paul will play. And I knew this was going to happen. Are we draining your competitive juices by forcing kids and NBA players to compete every single day?
You're listening to the PJF Podcast, a show dedicated to decoding elite sports performance and fitness. I'm Paul Fabritz, and I'm an NBA strength and conditioning and performance trainer. If you want to become superhuman, take your fitness, and take your sports performance to the next level, this is the podcast for you. Let's do it.
NBA stars are on this program, little kids are on this program, and they're all getting insane results with their athleticism, their strength, their overall health, their skill, and their basketball IQ. If you're a hooper and you have not joined the Unranked Academy, this is your chance right now. For a limited time, I got 2 offers for you. You could sign up for your first month right now for 50% off. This is less than $1 a day. You get access to the entire Unranked database. You can use discount code TAKE50 at checkout at pjfperformance.com. Or if you're ready to lock in with me for the entire year and you're really committed to taking your game to the next level, you can sign up for our yearly subscription and take 20% off the entire year. That's going to be discount code yearly20 at checkout. Unranked is a year-round strength and conditioning program, and we break it up into off-season, pre-season, in season. It's been working miracles when it comes to vertical jump. Some kids have jumped up to 10 inches higher. Of course, everybody's different, so everybody gets different gains, but we've seen gains up to 10 inches while getting stronger. The full skill code program is in there, so we have progressive levels. That's why NBA stars are on it and little kids are on it. You could literally have only played for a couple years and still benefit from this program. And then we have the IQ Vault as well. That's where NBA coach Cody Toppert breaks down the game. And the IQ, I mean, even every time he drops a video, I learn from it. And he's dropping several videos every single month to the Hoop IQ Vault. So we literally have everything that you would ever need as an athlete, from the skill to the strength to the athleticism to the IQ side. Plus, we have video meetings where you can come on a call with me, ask me questions. We do these group meetings where everybody has an opportunity to come on, ask me their questions. And it's just an awesome environment where we're all growing together and getting to the next level. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a story of the first time that I played in an NBA practice. By popular demand, in my last video, I had mentioned it, and I said, let me know in the comments if you want to hear the story. And you guys let me know that you do want to hear the story. So this is my NBA practice story. So this time last year, training camp had just ended for the 76ers. Season was just starting. They started playing games, but James Harden was not playing yet. He was still ramping up because he didn't go to training camp with them because they had the whole trade scenario thing. And so I go out to Philly, and we're ramping up James, and we have what's called a stay ready game. So if you don't know, a stay ready game is where the guys who aren't getting a lot of minutes, they play a couple days a week just to stay active and get some in-game reps so that if they're called upon, they can step in and play. And so the stay ready game is the guys who aren't getting a lot of minutes, bench players, and then like the G League guys, the guys on a two-way. And then if you don't have enough of the NBA guys, then you just fill it with like player development. So it was pretty much like NBA guys, G League guys, and then there's a couple player development guys who had just gotten done playing pro as well. So they're all in shape and ready to go. And I'm going into the facility, and I'm hooking up James's heart rate monitor because I like to sit back and look at the heart rate and make sure we're where we need to be from a conditioning standpoint. And this is a normal day for me. I'm hooking him up. He's going out. He's warming up. I'm setting up my my iPad so I can monitor everything. And I can only count 9 players out there. And then I'm looking around the facility like there might not be any other able-bodied people here who could potentially be the 10th. And I just knew that I was going to have to go play. So I'm kind of hiding. Like, I haven't been playing, so I really don't want my first time playing in months to be in an NBA practice. You guys know how I am about workload spikes. Like, if you're not playing, you shouldn't play, especially in your mid-30s. If you're going to play, you need a gradual ramp up over several weeks. Anyways, I just know I'm going to get roped into this game. So the assistant coach is running the practice, Rico Hines. You guys probably know him from the Rico Hines runs. It's a 76ers assistant coach. So he goes out and he's like, oh, okay, we only got 9. Let's just play 4-on-4. And James goes, no, let's play 5-on-5. And Rico goes, no, we only got 8, so we'll just play 4s. And James says, Paul will play. And I knew this was going to happen. So luckily, I actually did have shoes in my bag because that's what hoopers do. You always have shoes. You never know when you're going to have to play. So I went, grabbed my shoes, no warm-up, and I hopped straight in to playing. Luckily, I was on James's team, which makes everything a lot easier. You don't even have to play that well as long as you're on his team because he puts you in good positions. But very first play, first when I'm going out to play, Rico says, all right, all you have to do is play the PJ Tucker role. You need to run to that corner and then run back on the other end and play some decent defense. That's all you got to do. Don't mess up this game. And so he's never seen me play, so he doesn't know I kind of got it like that, even though I'm a little bit washed right now. And so very first play, I catch the ball and I rip and go. They didn't expect the speed. I got in the lane, kicked it. 3-point shot goes down. I'm feeling good now. Okay, I can hang in this game. Go on the other end, play some good defense. Now I am being targeted, right? The NBA they're all about getting that switch. And so they call it duck hunting, and I am the duck that they are hunting because I'm 5'10", and they haven't seen me play. So of course you're going to try to get me in the pick and roll. And I held my own. Still do a lot of agility, so I'm quick enough. Still do a lot of strength training so I can wall up. And so defensively, I was really, really solid in this game. James kind of did his thing, and we won, and then they came back and won. I think it was like a best out of 7 series. And the only problem was I didn't get any time to warm up my shot. So my first open 3 like barely reached the rim. And then my next one, I overcompensated and like shot it over the rim. When you don't get daily reps, you need a long time to warm up. So like I would have needed 20 minutes to actually feel out my shot in order to have a decent shooting day. And I didn't get any shooting reps that day. So it was clear that I was not going to be able to make a 3. But I started getting things going. I started making good passes, came through the lane, behind the back passes. I had like a drop cross, spin, dump off to the big. I started getting lays, started getting floaters, mid-ranges. And I heard the sideline, I heard the coach like, oh, dang. Like they didn't know that I can also hoop. They thought I was just like a strength coach. So overall, I thought I did actually really good. I was pissed that I couldn't shoot the ball, and they did sag off me, which did clog the lane. They kind of, when Russell Westbrook can't make a shot, it changes how the defense plays, and now everybody else is going 4-on-5. So then he's just trying to like make himself valuable by like back cutting and doing little things. That's kind of how I felt when I couldn't make a 3. It's just so frustrating, frustrating for everybody on the court. But overall, I did really, really good. I didn't give up any buckets, even though they are targeting me. The main thing that I noticed, because I haven't played high-level basketball like that in a while, the speed, the speed of decision-making. So just like defensively, there's so many things being called out to you. You got low man, you tag, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's happening so fast and you're fatigued. So you got to think so quickly while you're fatigued. It's just so much different than high school, and college is kind of like that, but NBA is a whole nother level. Especially when it comes to like the nuances of guarding the pick and roll, the nuances of help defense. Like you have to be so mentally sharp. Now, luckily I know the terms that they're calling out, but I'm not used to hearing the term, processing what they mean, and then quickly making a decision. And so that's like a acquired skill. You have to go play with really good players at that level in order to be a quick decision maker defensively. So I felt like my brain was a step slow. And that's another reason why I always say like conditioning is very different from playing compared to like fitness conditioning or even running conditioning or even skills training conditioning, because the decision-making component burns more energy. I remember a study showing that like when your brain is active making decisions, it's like 20% more energy, more calories that you're burning. And so I'm in decent fitness shape at this time, but I'm not used to being tired while making decisions. And so that kind of fatigued me a little bit quicker. And there were some times in those games where I had one of those moments where if you're at LA Fitness, you're so tired that you're just like, all right, you guys got it. And you just stay back on defense. Like you don't even go down. And I couldn't do that because this is an important practice. So like I'm forcing my way through it. But it just reminded me how different fitness conditioning is from basketball conditioning, and how different it is that the higher level you play, the quicker the decisions you got to make. Your brain has to be overloaded constantly in order to think quickly and think at that level. So after the game, all the players came up to me. Oh, I see you, P. Oh, you're going crazy. Because some of them also didn't know that I could hoop a little bit. Like overall, if I was like playing and in shape and got a warm up, I feel like I could do way better. But it was cool to see that I could hang and like actually affect the game offensively and defensively. And you know, everybody's showing love. It was really cool, very cool experience. But yeah, that's my NBA story. So after the practice, I was on my way back to the hotel, and I called my wife and I was like, yo, I just played in the 76ers practice. She's like, what? And I told her like, yeah, I played pretty well. And she's like, well, do you think they'll give you a 10-day? And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Unfortunately, I'm definitely not getting a 10-day off of this. There's a lot of better players out there that deserve that 10-day. But yeah, that's my NBA story. So getting into the topic of the day, this is just something that I've been thinking a lot about, and it is competitive stamina. I call it your competitive juices. And are we draining your competitive juices by forcing kids and NBA players to compete every single day? So we already have this over-competition problem, especially at the youth level. Every weekend they're playing 6 games or whatever. And now, like when I was growing up, we did play every weekend, but a lot of it was like these lower level tournaments. And then every couple months you'd have like one big tournament in Vegas. But now with the shoe circuits, like the EYBL, they're playing high stakes basketball like every weekend, and they're traveling. So they'll like leave on a Wednesday and then come back the next Monday and then just repeat it the next week. So they're traveling like NBA players. But every time that they play, there's scouts there. The stats are being recorded. You know, they're worried about their rankings. So not only are you playing a lot of basketball, you're playing high stakes basketball where you are really releasing a lot of adrenaline and dopamine every game. Now, we know there's an over-competition problem. We know kids are playing too much. What's the new trend in skills training over the last 3 to 5 years? Everything is competition. Everything is small-sided games. And I love small-sided games. But if you're already playing too much and now your skills trainer says there's no point in stationary shooting and there's no point in doing ball handling drills, everything has to be live, everything has to be 1-on-1, 3-on-3, different small-sided games, I think we're running into an issue where we are just draining their competitive juices. Now, those competitive juices is 100% necessary to reach flow state, right? So flow state, when you're just going crazy, just effortlessly scoring, not thinking about anything, you need a big, or you need a certain, it's like this perfect cocktail of a certain amount of adrenaline, a certain amount of dopamine, the stress hormones like cortisol is released. Like there's a certain concoction that lets you reach flow state. And if you're competing every single day, I think you're draining those neurotransmitters and those hormones. And now when you need to reach flow state, I think it's much harder. And I kind of had this realization this summer I was doing an on-court session with an NBA guy who's an incredible finisher at the rim. And we had done a couple days in a row of small-sided games of just finishing work against length. And he was bricking everything, like easy layups, floaters that he normally makes. He'll make like running hook shots, and he was just missing everything. And then he went and played pickup, and he did terrible. And then we gave him a couple days off, and he came back, and we did another small-sided game, and he was killing. And he went and played pickup, and he's killing. And some of these guys, we call them gamers, they only play well when they have that right cocktail, when they can release the adrenaline and the stress hormones and the dopamine. If they can't do that and they try to compete anyways, they're really, really bad. And you need things like adrenaline to be mentally focused and to be sharp, right? You make quicker decisions. You're far more accurate. This is a survival tactic. Like this is a lion is chasing you, and you get that huge adrenaline release, and now you run faster. And now I don't know how to climb a tree, but all of a sudden I climbed a tree, right? I'm not talking about from personal experience. Obviously, I've never ran from a lion, but this is kind of why we have these hormones and neurotransmitters, and so your performance elevates when you can release these things. And I think that we're draining them with constant competition. Every skills training session is competition. Even a shooting drill. These days, trainers won't put somebody through a normal, boring shooting drill just for reps. Everything has to be competing. Now, I'm a huge fan of competing, but it has to be used strategically. And in a era where we already have an over-competition problem, I think the amount of AAU being played is already draining their competitive juices. So then to double down in skills training and do more, then we bring them in the weight room and you can't do squats anymore. You have to do velocity-based, by the way, which I love at times. But now it's like it's being tracked. And every time that you jump, you're jumping to touch a vertex, or you're jumping on a jump mat. So everything is being tracked. You're always competing with the person next to you. And I think that kids are becoming stale. I think they're getting burned out. And, this realization kind of helped me start to look at things differently, because normally I would look at a player's, when I look at an NBA player's game log, I'm looking at how many sprints did they get, how much top end sprinting, how much accelerating, how many decelerations did they get, how many jumps did they get. These are the things that kind of guide the program. But I was thinking, like, if we hit 100 decels, 100 XLs, 10 max jumps, 15 high velocity sprints in a workout, and another kid hit the same exact amount, are they the same fatigue level? Well, what if this other kid did it by himself out on a court, just him using his visualization, having fun, and the other guy was competing to get there? Well, we can't just look at the physical stresses. I can't just look at this is how stressful it was on their joints, because the guy who was competing to get there probably also drained those competitive juices. So that's a way higher stimulus on his nervous system, and that next day he's probably going to be drained. So we don't want to come back the next day and compete again. Whereas the kid who went out and did all that, he has much less of a stimulus on his nervous system, and the next day he might still be able to go play, or he might be able to compete, and he might be a little bit fresher. And I think that that's never been something that has been considered when it comes to load management. We all just look at the physical stressors, but we don't look at, were you competing yesterday or were you not competing yesterday? Because if you were competing yesterday, today we might want to do some of the more boring drills, or you out there on a court by yourself. And that's undervalued in general. So many players are with a trainer every single day or competing every single day. I think those in-between days, like a Tuesday and a Thursday, I think it's really good to go out on a court by yourself and not train with a trainer, because there's two things. One, you get to use your visualization and not be told what to do. So you get to enhance your creativity, use your visualization, just like when you were a kid, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 game winner. That's one of the highest forms of skills training. But that's kind of a lost art, I think, a lot in today's game, because you're only listening to what the trainer tells you to do. So yeah, you're going through the motions, but you're not visualizing and using your creativity at the highest level. But 2, it is a great form of load management, you going to do the work by yourself, because it's self-paced. And you can limit your workload based on how you feel without social pressure from other teammates or other kids or coaches. Because if you go out with a coach, he's going to push you, and you're going to go your knee might hurt a little bit, but you might push through because you don't want to be like the soft one that raises their hand and says, "Coach, I can't do it," because all the other kids are doing it. And so I think that's where a lot of overtraining comes from, is forced exercise. So when you're out there training by yourself, if you're feeling good, you can push yourself, which is great, right? You're not going to have a coach hold you back or freak out and say, "Hey, you're doing too much volume." You feel good, so you go hard. But if you're not feeling good and you're feeling overly fatigued, you don't have to push through it, and you don't have that social pressure. So sometimes that forced exercise, where you're letting somebody else dictate your training volume, a lot of times that's what leads to overuse injuries. That's also why, as a trainer, I think about everything as a collaboration, and I ask a lot of questions, because I think in my mind I have the perfect program designed for you, but we are not linear systems. We're complex systems. So even though I think the exercise portion is perfect, if you didn't sleep well the night before, if you didn't eat enough protein, if you're not hydrated, then this program might actually hurt you. And so after, every warm up, I'm looking at how you move. Every conversation I have, "Hey, how are you feeling? Are you a little tired today? You feel good today?" All of this stuff goes into my decision of how hard we're going to push. And sometimes I do just ask, "Hey, how do you feel? Like, where are you at in this workout? Have you worked at a 9 out of 10 level, or are you at like a 6 out of 10 fatigue?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's easy. I'm at a 5 out of 10. So now I know I could push a little bit harder." But I think most trainers just don't have that experience, and they want to be the authoritative, authoritative figure. And so they feel like they can't ask you questions. They just have to tell you what to do. And a lot of times that leads to overtraining. So that's why I do think, like, in our unranked program, we have the high days and the low days. And like the low days would be like a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The high days would be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we are competing. We are going to do small-sided games. But the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you might want to consider just getting up your more stationary reps, spend more time on film work, because you're not only recovering your body, you're recovering your mind, so that next day I can have those competitive juices. And you'll know your competitive juices are running low when you go to compete and you don't want to be there. And this is one of the worst feelings as a athlete. When, like, if I go play one-on-one and I'm just like, I don't really care if I win right now, that's how you know your competitive juices are running low. I also think that's the most dangerous time to be playing a sport, because if your competitive juices are running low and you compete anyways, your brain is a step behind. You need adrenaline for quick reaction time. And so you're just going through the motions and you're driving, and you might misstep or you might step on a foot when normally you would have avoided it because of a quicker reaction time, but your competitive juices aren't high. Dopamine's not where it needs to be. Adrenaline's not where it needs to be. Now you're a step behind. Now we get these neurological glitches. And I think that's when a lot of times these big injuries happen. And you look back and you're like, well, my load management was fine leading up to this. I wasn't tired. My biomechanics have always been good. My nutrition was good. Like, how could this happen? Well, maybe you just weren't in the right place in terms of this neurotransmitter cocktail, we'll call it, and you couldn't reach flow state or anywhere near flow state. I'm not saying you're going to always reach flow state, but flow state is a spectrum, and you want to at least reach partial flow state in order to be out there in the first place. When you're not even at partial flow state, and these and you can't release this adrenaline, I think you're really bad. You start questioning your abilities, and I think that you're a step behind mentally, and that's where the neurological glitches happen, and that's where a lot of the injuries occur. So I think this over-competition problem leads to poor performance, increased injuries, but I also think it leads to people losing love for the game of basketball. That's part of the beauty in basketball, is when you go compete, you want to win. You're always like 100% competitive. I'm trying to win. And I think half the time these days when kids are out competing, they don't actually care that much. Just AAU alone, you go into your first game, okay, I want to win. Second game, okay, I kind of want to win. But if you lose, you get another one. And then if you lose that, you get another one. And so compared to back in the day when, maybe you just went and played pickup, and in order to stay on the court, you had to win. Otherwise, if you lost, you had to wait for an hour, so you just go home. So the competitive stamina, the competitive juices are high in pickup. And then you might play one game per week. Like when I was growing up, we had City League games every Saturday. You go play. And the whole week, I'm visualizing this game, so I'm all out every single game. And it's not enough for me to drain those competitive juices. And with how much kids are playing now, I do think it's leading to early retirement for a lot of players. Javon Quinterly just announced his retirement, which shout out to Javon Quinterly. Great player, great dude. I met him at Adidas Nations. He's had a great career, and he's had some injuries, and I have no idea what the thought process was behind him retiring early instead of potentially going overseas and playing. AJ Griffin, who I actually got to talk to a few times, he came into the gym at District to work with my friend Johnny Dribble Too Much. Man, this summer he was working every day and looking really good. I was telling Johnny, like, yo, AJ's nice. His shot is way better than I ever thought it was. He moves well. He's athletic. And then out of nowhere, a week later, after I saw him, he announced his retirement. And again, I have no idea why. Kyle Guy just retired, young age. He was just killing overseas. I'm not going to pretend to know why, but I do think that playing a million AAU games growing up can kind of drain that competitive stamina. And I think back in the day, by the time they got to the NBA, that's when you started playing 3 games a week. Like, you never played that much growing up. And then once you get to the NBA, you're like, okay, like I can handle it. And you could push through for 10 years. And then your competitive stamina is drained at that point. And then you're like, okay, I'm over it. I don't want to compete. I don't love it anymore. But I think that people are reaching that at a much earlier age because of how much they're playing growing up. I think there's players getting to the league at 19 years old and they're already kind of over basketball. And now they're just there to go through the motions, to make a certain amount of money, to keep somebody happy because they're expected to play basketball. And so I think that people are just losing love for the game at an earlier age. And part of that could be the social media pressures and all the other stuff, right? But I do think that the over-competition era is only fueling this. All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. You think that I'm onto something here? Have you felt this as a player, or if you're a trainer, coach, parent, have you seen this in your kids? Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm out. NBA stars are on this program. Little kids are on this program, and they're all getting insane results with their athleticism, their strength, their overall health, their skill, and their basketball IQ. If you're a hooper and you have not joined the Unranked Academy, this is your chance right now. For a limited time, I got 2 offers for you. You could sign up for your first month right now for 50% off. This is less than $1 a day. You get access to the entire Unranked database. You can use discount code TAKE50 at checkout at PJFperformance.com. Or if you're ready to lock in with me for the entire year and you're really committed to taking your game to the next level, you can sign up for our yearly subscription and take 20% off the entire year. That's going to be discount code YEARLY20 at checkout. Unranked is a year-round strength and conditioning program, and we break it up into off-season, preseason, in season. It's been working miracles when it comes to vertical jump. Some kids have jumped up to 10 inches higher. Of course, everybody's different, so everybody gets different gains, but we've seen gains up to 10 inches while getting stronger. The full skill code program is in there, so we have progressive levels. That's why NBA stars are on it and little kids are on it. You could literally have only played for a couple years and still benefit from this program. And then we have the IQ vault as well. That's where NBA coach Cody Toppert breaks down the game. And the IQ, I mean, even every time he drops a video, I learn from it. And he's dropping several videos every single month to the Hoop IQ Vault. So we literally have everything that you would ever need as an athlete, from the skill to the strength to the athleticism to the IQ side. Plus, we have video meetings where you can come on a call with me, ask me questions. We do these group meetings where everybody has an opportunity to come on, ask me their questions. And it's just an awesome environment where we're all growing together and getting to the next level.